Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
2 weeks in a row. That's what I'm talking about. Consistency. YouTube algorithm. Notice me. Anyway,
Senpai noticing.
what's up, guys? As always, it is I, Larry, and him, Brick. We just got back from an unsuccessful thrift store shop, but a very successful consolatory a donut. We got donuts. They were delicious.
Yeah, we got donuts from Donut Palace.
From Donut Palace. I'm also thinking, just now in my head, that we should do a series of who has the best donuts in Chattanooga, because it gives us an excuse
To go eat a
to
bunch
eat a
of
bunch
donuts.
of fucking donuts.
Yeah,
And we get to make content while we're doing it.
I like it.
So yeah, I think we should do that.
That'd be good.
Mental note. Anyways, we were talking the other day about you were talking about your strange experience with being a warehouse manager at the ripe age of 20?
19.
19. Warehouse manager at the ripe age of 19. And I've not had a bunch of weird jobs, but I've had a lot of weird experiences
Yeah.
with jobs. I've just had a lot of, I was thinking about the other day, I've had a lot of jobs.
Mm.
A shitload of jobs. If you count working with my dad doing mowing and stuff, which I don't know why you wouldn't, because I got paid. It was hard. So I did landscaping for a little while, and then I was a barista at this super shitty cafe, which I'll get into that later. And then I worked at an Old Navy, and then a Bed Bath and Beyond, and then I worked doing roofing. Then I worked at another cafe, which was better but shitty in a different way. And then I was a magazine delivery boy, which I'll also get into later. And then, I currently work at a CBD dispensary. Before this worked at a CBD dispensary. Well, I worked at Whole Foods. I can't believe I forgot about that. Yeah, I worked at Whole Foods for a year. And then I think that's pretty much it. There's probably some weird side things that I did.
Yeah, I did a bunch of small jobs that were temporary.
Yeah.
Before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the warehouse management job, which I consider my first real job, it was still only temporary. It was only 5-6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. The shortest I've ever worked somewhere, I guess, would be seasonally. Landscaping was a pretty seasonal thing, but I did it many years in a row, so it's but I guess the shortest I've really worked anywhere is probably Old Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that first coffee place. I don't really know how long I worked there, to be honest. I can't really remember. But Old Navy, I wasn't there more than 6 months, I don't think. I really hated that job.
No, I worked as a cafeteria server.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I did, but I didn't do it long, because then I got offered the job at Hennen's.
Yeah.
I did it maybe 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it that long.
No, not really.
Just enough to experience it and say I did it, and then got offered, a much better job. So
yeah, take that one.
That one, yeah.
Weren't you doing something else at the same time as the cafeteria thing? I feel like you had 2 jobs for a second.
I don't think so.
Did the Hennen's and the cafeteria thing overlap?
Yeah, well, they overlapped for a little while.
Maybe that's what it was.
Because I was originally gonna try to keep working the cafeteria job until the summer, to get them through summer. But Hennen's, I told them the days I was working at that place, so
Mhm.
they just scheduled me for every other day.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was like, oh,
So
so I
working
just
every day now.
every single day, so I just ended up quitting that job, which was kind of a bummer for them because it was a small company. But whatever.
Gotta do what you gotta do, you know.
Gotta do what you gotta do. And then went and worked for Hennons for about a year.
Yeah. Yeah, that first coffee place I worked at was super weird. It was like, you know, I just got in a car, so I could like actually have a job somewhere. So I was like 16. This is like probably the like height or the beginning of the height of my like hipster, like super hipster shit. And I thought being like a barista was like the coolest shit because that I hung out in like coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So like I was like, oh, that's fucking dope. But it, like my parents by that time had moved deeper, like into Olive Branch, like across state lines. So it was like a, you know, like a 35 minute drive to Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, like I'm not making that much as a barista.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, seems like I'm kind of wasting
A lot
most
of
of my
money,
money
yeah.
just doing that every day to go to work. So there was this like place that opened up in like Old Town Olive Branch, which like, it sounds podunky. It is podunky. It was just, you know, a bunch of like rich, or not even rich, not even rich at all, just a bunch of old white people. You know, the kind that like a lot of mayonnaise in their chicken salad and, you know, stuff like that. And there was this lady, Leanne, I think was her name.
Classic old lady name.
And she wasn't that old. She was like upper 30s, lower 40s.
Who the fuck named her Leanne?
I have no idea. She was from Canada.
Splendid.
And she opened up this place called Pink's, and it was like a coffee shop, and I got a job there because I went to interview and I knew more about the espresso machine than she did. So, and she was an interesting woman. She was odd. She was like my first boss, so I was a little bit like, you know, nervous, I guess, of her, a little cautious, but she was also just strange. Like, she just did weird stuff. And she was like really intense about the business, but like the only people that ever came in were like super old people that just wanted like drip coffee and like a chicken salad sandwich. Like, that was all I did all day. Basically, like every now and then you'd get someone young in there that wanted some kind of latte or something. I would be like, yes, thank you. Create something creative.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a weird job. And then Old Navy just sucked because there's just a bunch of weird people that worked there. Like
That old lady.
like Old Navy, I don't know if this is all Old Navies, but the Old Navy in South Haven, Mississippi in like the mid 2000s was a strange place. Or it was a really strange place. Or like, I guess mid 2010s.
Mid 2010s.
Something like that. Well, no, because I graduated from, God damn, I graduated from high school in 2015. So no, it would have been like the mid to late 2000s. Was a super weird place.
Yeah.
And there was like, I remember there was one guy who was like super gay, which was like, I never had a problem with that. But he was also like one of the first like really sexual, openly gay men that I'd ever like met, interacted with. So like that was just like a whole new thing. And he was like he was always strung out on some shit. And like we kind of talked, and like he figured out that I like did some drugs and stuff. And so like he was always trying, I don't know if he was really trying to bang me, but he was always trying to get me to like come over and like do a bunch of drugs. And I was just always like, nah, like I'm good, like you're a cool guy. But then like one time I'm like, it was like Black Friday, that's what it was, and we had to be there until like, me and him were both on shift until like midnight or like 1, like we were open like 24 hours or some crazy something, I don't know. But he came in and he was off the rails on something, which now it's probably like, that was probably meth.
Yeah.
He was just like super up, and he was trying like really hard to like he was like asking me if he seemed okay, and I was like, nah. And he's like, all right, hold on. And they went. I think he tried to take something to like calm down,
Yeah.
and then it just like boom, just like totally shifted, and he was like, I don't think I ever saw him again after that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he just got fired that night or if he quit or like he just never came back. I don't know, but I never saw him again.
There's a lesson there, kids. If you're gonna do drugs at work, do the soft ones.
Yeah, do the softer ones. Smoke some weed. Like take an Adderall if you're really feeling crazy, but like smoke some weed and like drink some espresso and hippie speedball. You know,
there you go.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
No need to be doing meth or like cocaine at work. Like
Unless you're working the line.
unless you're working the line. In that case, it's like I
Don't need that
don't,
cocaine.
I can't recommend it, but it's like if you do it, I get it.
Yeah, I perfectly get it.
Yeah.
I've never done it, but I mean, been around it a lot. It's honestly kind of amazing that I haven't.
I mean,
I've been
motherfuckers are
around
doing
it
that
a
at Whole
certain
Foods.
amount. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the difference in like the visual of who worked like quote unquote front of house at Whole Foods and who worked back of house at Whole Foods, it was a completely different. Like everyone in the front of house is like very nice looking, like pretty, handsome, whatever. Everyone in the back is just like real motherfuckers, just like doing their shit, just like cooking stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
That's how them grocery stores be. They put the pretty people up front and then
Yeah.
shove the rest of us in the back.
Yeah, I mean, I washed dishes I did pizza for a while and sandwiches, and then there was that, like, I don't even know how long that was. It feels like it was a really long time, but it was probably only, like, maybe 2 or 3 months. Maybe not even that long that I, like, had to do, I was, like, only doing dish shift.
Yeah.
It was awful. But it was like, I just had a crappy manager that didn't work with me the same way my like previous manager did, and I had school to do. So, but that 15 an hour was like, every time I would puke in the bathroom from like how nasty the shit that I was washing was, and how like I hadn't eaten, I would just be like 15 an hour, 15 an hour, 15 an hour, 15 an hour. And then they fired me, and I was like, "Oh yes, thank God."
I'm released.
I never would have. I don't think I wouldn't have quit. I think I would have tried to go all the way.
It's hard to quit a $15.
It was
like,
nice. It was nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's easier now to find, but you only find it in those soul crushing
that
big
is
corporations.
soul crushing big corporations.
Yeah, like Target,
Amazon,
which
Whole owns Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I'm
sure there's a couple other places, but
you don't find
I think
it.
Walmart's starting to.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're inching their way towards it. I don't think they're there yet, but
yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. Yeah, the minimum, like the way that like minimum wage works, is so, and like I thought Tennessee had raised it.
The minimum wage?
Yeah, not to like 15, but I thought we were at least at like 8 or 8.50. But it's still like 7.25.
Yeah,
and it's like less than that for servers.
Yeah, no, for servers
it's like 2 something, I think.
2.50, something like that.
Which is great. I mean, when I was at Rembrandt's, I mean like.
Oh yeah, I mean
hour,
servers
I think.
in the right place can make bank.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I like ended up at Rembrandt's. I got paid $5 an hour, but I ended up on average, I think, making like $8.59 an hour, something like that, which is still not great.
Still not great.
Because there were just so many people there that you had to split tips with.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people don't tip at coffee shops.
No, it's not as. I mean, you definitely should, but it's also.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you should.
Like if I don't have the cash and it's not one of those where they're giving me something to sign, it's like, well.
Yeah, there's nothing to really.
I
you
can't
can't
do
really
nothing.
do anything. That's true. But yeah. But yeah, a lot of people get like stuff to go and don't tip because like at a restaurant.
Yeah, well, it's also. I mean, I didn't really know for a while that coffee shops, like, the employees work on tip.
Yeah, I mean, that's not as widely known for sure.
No, I mean, I know servants do and whatnot.
Yeah, But yeah, coffee. A lot of coffee shops treat their baristas like servers, so that you get paid mostly on tips, or at least half.
That's awful. I hate that system.
Yeah,
It doesn't,
no, it sucks.
and it's not a good system
Mm-mm.
at all. Tipping for to actually be part of your income.
Yeah, I liked the way it worked in Europe.
Yeah.
A lot more.
It's just
built into your bill, or like servers they just get paid like a normal amount.
yeah. I've never worked a job where I got tips.
I only have twice, I guess. Well,
Though I should get tips now at Fresh Market.
yeah.
Like, with stuff I have to do for these people.
Yeah, you really should. People would occasionally give us tips at Whole Foods if like they ask for some crazy something.
Yeah, like occasionally there'll be someone that'll throw out a tip. I think a guy gave me a 5 once.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could spend half an hour serving one person,
Yeah.
and it's like, if you didn't have me doing it, you had someone else and like a moron and doesn't actually know how to work properly.
Yeah.
It would have been an hour. Like, you should tip me something. Like, this isn't just a blank experience. You're gonna get exactly the same from every person.
Yeah.
Like, I'd very much make it a better experience. But don't get tipped.
Yeah, it's not one of those things that, I don't know, it's like at some point we decided what things were like gonna get tipped and not. It's
Yeah,
like a lot of things
like,
that don't like deserve it.
I hate the system of tipping for wage, where it's like built in to be part of your wage. That's awful. I hate that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do love the system of, if someone goes above and beyond, like, fucking throw them some dollars.
Right.
Like,
For sure.
but the
But yeah,
line on it is terrible.
Yeah. And I think that turns a lot of, like, if people don't like understand that, especially like older people don't seem to understand that like part of their wage is tip. Like, if you don't tip them, they only made like $2 that hour, and so, but like people don't understand, like, why, like, I don't know, people are so concerned with like they don't tip if the service was like not like excellent.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like, it's because they've got 6 other tables and they're probably short staffed and probably something went wrong in the kitchen. It's like, these people are not like, if they're like a, asshole to you, then like, that's one thing. But if they're just like a little bit, they don't go like super above and beyond for you, just like they're just doing their job. Like, I don't know, like, at least tip the 20%. Like, that's just that's one thing that our generation seems to be pretty like good about, at least
Tipping.
Like, we understand it because we're working those jobs, which I guess people just like tipping for wage wasn't much of a, as much
Well,
of a
it
thing
was,
back
but
then.
$1 was worth more. So
That's
like
true.
getting paid $2.50 an hour wasn't nearly as bad as, like, I mean, that's fucking nothing.
No, yeah, I mean,
That's
there's nothing you can do with that. You can't even work an hour and buy a meal. Like,
no. But 20 years ago,
right.
yeah, no, that $2.50 is something. That's plus the tips you're making, plus the fucking dollar someone throws you.
Yeah.
That's okay. Now you're actually making something. But no, I don't know. But I've been lucky enough I haven't had to survive on it. No.
Yeah, I've never worked at a like restaurant. The Rembrandt's was the closest I ever came to it, and it still wasn't as bad as working in a restaurant, because you don't have to like really like wait on people. You just have to like make drinks and stuff.
No, and when I was working at Hinnan's, this is a weird one, because I mean, some places like Hennen's, Aaliyah's, these higher end restaurants, if you're a server, you make a good bit of chunk of
Yeah,
change.
oh, for sure.
Um,
Like buckets and stuff. Like,
But the kitchen staff, well, A, we didn't get tipped out, and B, really wasn't paid that much.
yeah,
Like, I was getting paid, I mean, I was on the lower end just because I was doing prep. I was in charge of a lot, but still,
yeah,
I was paid $9.50. But like even the like grill, the highest you could go on the like the chain before you start getting like sous chef and chef.
yeah.
Grill cook was only making like $14-15, and that's not going to be the same as what the servers are pulling
Yeah.
in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a weird thing.
That's kind of weird that like tips are split, but like not with back of house. I feel like that happens in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like we didn't. I don't think at Rembrandt's. I don't think we split tips with back of house. I mean,
No.
They got paid more per hour than we did.
yeah, and that's what they're doing here, but it's
I mean,
not,
I guess it's the like.
it's not comparable.
No, it's not comparable. I'm assuming that their like tagline for it, whatever you want to call it, is like essentially that your wage is like guaranteed, whereas their wage is like up to them essentially.
Yeah.
But like if they're consistently on average pulling in more than you're making per hour, that's like, well, okay, but
Yeah, which
Yeah.
they were, and you could argue that part of the reason why these people keep coming back is
because
the
the
food.
food you made.
Yeah, the food was really good and very consistent. And,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely part of it. I mean, service is only, half of a two-part experience,
yeah, so I thought it was kind of a weird,
Yeah.
not great system.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not the best system for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Our economic system is late stage capitalism is just kind of a real cluster,
Well, this isn't late stage capitalism.
We're getting there.
Mature capitalism, which you can see in like the Netherlands, primo.
Yeah.
It's honestly really good.
Well, we're not
there. We're still
too
too immature to get there. Well, it's the federal capitalism needs to mature. The way they do their loans and whatnot, and like mortgages on houses, if you can't make payments, the government will buy the rest of your debt, and this encourages homeowners to actually take out mortgages bigger than the worth of the house. It's a really weird system, but almost everyone in that country is in an immense amount of debt, and it's fine because if they can't keep up with that, they don't lose all their stuff. The government will come in and pay the whatever you can't.
Well, see, you say that to someone in America, and they're gonna call that like communist.
Yeah, no, it's mature capitalism. It's immensely mature capitalism, and we're just not there yet. I mean, there's other ways of. I think the government will end up owning the house, so after you pass away, it doesn't pass on. Then the government will try to reimburse itself or whatever. I'm not immensely
Versed on the topic.
but I do know a little bit, enough to know that we are silly.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like part of America's problem is not necessarily, in my opinion, is not necessarily that like our systems are like bad or some of them definitely are. Don't get me wrong, but not all of them or our like ideas are bad. It's we just have there's too many people and we're pretending to be one country when like especially right now we're definitely not. Like we have there's too many differing opinions on all kinds of sides to like it seems like to make anything work, and there's also just like so much money being poured into politics that it's like impossible to like get a group of people that are like in it for what they're supposed to be in it for. You know what I mean? It just seems to be like Like that
I mean,
system
yeah,
seems to
but
definitely not be. This definitely seems to be broken.
to an extent, I mean, it's definitely polarized over the past 4 years more so than we have in a very long time. But I mean, I don't think it's to the point where I'm saying we're not one country. And it's also like every country is like this, where there's multiple sides that are digging in trenches. We're just the outliers have gotten bigger voices than the moderates at this point in time. But I mean, I still think we can work through. I mean, hell, I myself still try to. I mean, part of the reason I do theater, part of the reason I do this art form is to influences the mindset, the feeling of the people around me, the community around me, and then the greater community beyond that, and whatnot. And I mean, it's all dominoes, so I don't think we're too far gone yet, but we're definitely. It's hard to see the common ground, even though I do believe it is there. But yeah, I mean, we're immensely polarized right now, which is unfortunate. And the political system is greedy, I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think like being like as involved with like specifically like how everything's going with like cannabis legalization right now, like in Tennessee and as the federal government, like just getting a deeper like view into that has just made me like wildly more nihilistic about like how the government works. Like hearing like firsthand from like Chris and Kathy and like what these senators are telling them that like has happened and has been said.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me like wildly more like unconfident in like where our country's government like is right now. It just seems like the people have lost a lot of their power in a lot of ways. You know, like we can still vote people in and out and stuff like that, sure, but like when it comes to real decision making, like time and time again, you see these senators and stuff go like wildly against their constituents' interests because someone with a ton of money told them to, or they're trying to make friends with, or you know whatever. And it's just, yeah, I mean it's just like devastating, really, to like, you know, I never really thought that like the government was like really working for me in a lot of ways, you know. I mean, but I feel like they, you know, had like as a country our best interest at heart, and you know we're trying to steer us down the right, you know, whatever, you know, you hope that at least. But it just like the more and more I like find out about it, it just seems like they just don't care at all. Like they just want to get reelected and get more money, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, you lose a lot of confidence.
No, I mean, yeah, especially with the wave of politicians that have been, I mean, just in the last few years been elected, that's definitely a much more, I mean, just reading testimony of like seasoned politicians that have been there a really long time, of them talking about the new ones coming in. Like I hear a lot of, it's easy to tell what they're against, but like I have no idea what they're actually for.
Yeah,
like they're just
very
here.
slippery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I perfectly agree. We definitely need a new wind to come and change
I
the
just
tide
don't like.
some.
I don't know how you do that without like them agreeing to it, because they're the ones that make the friggin' laws.
I mean,
like, they're the ones that decide to pay themselves more every year. Like,
yeah, I mean, we still get to decide who gets elected,
that's true.
And that's the one power we got. And then we still have court of public opinion. Like, you get enough people, like, this culture is also proven that if you get enough people behind an idea, like the actual reality. That can change what
it's true.
is
that is
reality.
true. It's true.
So I mean, I still got faith in humanity. I don't know why, but I still do.
I mean, it's too sad not to.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like
I mean, I still do. It's just right now it seems bleak.
Yeah.
Just in America, it's especially, it just, I mean, that's just where I'm at. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of. But like, there's other, like, I mean, with India, stuff going on there, and it just seems like for the past several years, things have just been like not so hot. Like,
No, I mean, we just got immensely polarized. I mean,
Yeah.
Trump walked in and was able to capitalize on
Yeah, I mean, he really just
these growing emotions. And
spun us for a big loop. I feel like we're all just kind of like,
yeah, but at the same time, I'm hoping we come out on the other side better because he didn't invent anything.
no.
All those emotions, all those feelings these people
were
are
there.
now showing, they were feeling. So, like, yeah, we're getting the negative effects of people letting out their emotions, but at the same time, they're letting them out, and eventually, hopefully, we see them for like the reactions to them and what your emotions make you do, the disgusting things that they make you do.
I mean, yeah, I'm a
learn
big
from
believer that you shouldn't try to quash, hate speech or like anti-rhetoric or whatever, because that gives it power.
Yeah.
To try to hush somebody makes everyone else who was like maybe like considering or like being like, well, maybe they have some, but like also they're kind of, and then you like make them shut up, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, see, look, they're trying to fucking put us down, and and that's just like, yeah, I feel like letting them spew their vile whatever is in the short term painful and embarrassing and disgusting, but I think in the long term shows them to be what they really are. And we can all agree that no one wants to be that.
Yeah, no, the extremes are poop.
Yeah.
Poop.
Pretty
Doo-doo.
poop.
If you are extremist, doo-doo. You're a doo-doo head.
Doo-doo head.
Doo-doo poo-poo. Because,
Never be-
your belief should never really influence other people's lives.
No. No.
They should
Keep that to yourself.
keep it to
You're
yourself.
not hurting anybody, I don't care.
And,
But like, if you start hurting people, it's like, well, okay, like that's
You're-
not cool, guy.
not cool at all.
But yeah,
Anyway,
so that feels like
that felt like a good episode.
we got really off of what we started talking about.
Yeah, I didn't even talked about being a warehouse manager.
No, we'll have to come back to that.
We'll have to come back to
Because
that.
There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff to unpack in that. But that was an authentic, genuine conversation.
Well,
and that's what it's all
That's
about.
what it's all about, people.
So next episode, we'll talk more about work stuff and maybe also go off topic again on something else. Who knows? Tune in.